The movie begins by showing students at a kung fu school deeply engrossed in their training. Among them, Feng Siyu, one of the top students, is preparing for his final examination to become a kung fu master. In this exam, Siyu has to face wooden puppets that can fight back. As he steps into the battle arena, he employs a technique that toughens his body like copper, making him resistant to the puppets' attacks. In no time, Siyu defeats all the wooden puppets, but then they combine into a massive, stronger puppet. Although he struggles initially, he figures out that the puppets are controlled by skilled martial artists. Seizing an opportunity, he attacks and defeats the giant wooden puppet, which then turns into several martial artists guarding the arena. With this victory, Siyu graduates as a kung fu master from the school. After earning his degree, Siyu hurries back home. Along the way, he reflects on his teacher's advice, urging him to be a kung fu master who always stands for justice on Earth. On the other hand, there's a guy named Zhang Si Hunt who's having a meeting with his boss, Ardu, who's a corrupt official. Ardu doesn't look too happy with Si Hunt because he lost a ledger that had evidence of Ardu's crimes over the years. If this evidence gets into the government's hands, Ardu's crimes could be exposed, and he might face some serious punishment from the emperor. So he tells his underling, Nun, to get rid of Si Hunt, and then say that Si Hunt is the one who's been corrupt and deserves to be executed. After Si Hunt is taken care of, Ardu leaves his office and finds that some of the people who used to work for Si Hunt have been captured by his guys. Right then, Ardu's soldiers tell him that another official named Wen Guang has gone missing, and that makes Ardu think this official might be involved in stealing his ledger. So, Ardu orders his soldiers to find out where this official is and to get rid of all of Si Hunt's captured workers. The next day, Siyu finally made it back to his hometown, and before going to see his mother, he wanted to visit his friend, Lai Chai, who sold fish in the traditional market. When Lai Chai spotted Siyu's return, he got really happy and gave his friend a hug. Meanwhile, another friend of Siyu's, Chao Rong, was waiting too. She had a special gift for him, a wooden statue of a kung fu master, and she had a crush on him. While all this was happening, one of Ardu's men, Tu Hei Chao, who was also known as the Bear Man, was causing trouble in the market. Siyu and Lai Che tried to stop him so that the people caught up in his mess could get away safely. Siyu even challenged the Bear Man to a fight, but the Bear Man decided to ride off on his horse. So Siyu went after him to prevent more chaos. When he managed to corner the Bear Man, suddenly his mother, Miao Huihua, showed up and scolded her son to come home right away. Because of this, the Bear Man got away, and Siyu had to go home with his mother. Later that night in a house, a group of people led by Chao Feng gathered to stand up against Ardu's leadership. During the meeting, Chao Feng revealed that he had taken Ardu's ledger to put an end to the corrupt official's crimes. They also knew that Lord Send, the top ruler, was coming to the city soon, and they planned to use this visit to expose Ardu's wrongdoing so that he could be punished by Send. Chao Feng was determined to avenge Si Hunt's death, who was killed by Ardu. However, their meeting was interrupted by a fiery arrow attack from Ardu's henchmen, which resulted in the death of some group members. Chao Feng angrily confronted Arduo for the loss of their comrades, but Arduo was focused on getting his ledger back. He ordered Hei Chao to capture Chao Feng. Meanwhile, at home, Chu Hua was punishing Siyu by making him sit in a cold water tub because she was disappointed that her son had used his martial arts skills to fight Hei Chao. She had sent Siyu to the Kung Fu school to learn wisdom in life. Before leaving, she took all of Siyu's clothes so that he couldn't escape his punishment. At the same time, there was a gang leader known as Lei Lao Hu. He was the most powerful leader of the Tiger Gang. Lao Hu was in a state of panic because his daughter had run away from home to avoid an arranged marriage. He immediately ordered his gang members to search for his daughter. Meanwhile, Siyu managed to sneak out of the cold water tub and borrowed some clothes so he could catch up with his two friends who had gone to the night market. While he was on his way, he got a shock when he bumped into a girl who was also stealing clothes, and both of them let out surprised screams. The girl was Lei Ting Ting, Lao Hu's daughter, who was running away from an arranged marriage that her father had planned for her. To keep her true identity a secret, Ting Ting pretended to be a regular farmer when talking to Siyu. After Lao Hu's gang members had gone, Chao Rong and Lai Che arrived and were surprised to see Siyu and Ting Ting straightening their clothes. They mistakenly thought that the two had been together intimately. This made Chao Rong feel jealous, and she decided to go home, with Lai Chai following her in an attempt to catch up with her. On his way to find Chao Rong, Lai Chai accidentally encountered a member of the Tiger Gang carrying a poster with a picture of Chao Fang, Chao Rong's father. This worried Lai Chai, and he hurried to find Chao Rong to let her know about her father being sought by the gang. When he found her, Lai Chai immediately informed her about her father's poster, which indicated that the Tiger Gang was looking for him. After Lai Chai left, Chao Rong remembered that her father had entrusted Ardu's ledger to her before he left and asked her to keep it safe until Send arrived in the city. Meanwhile, at the night market, Siyu and Ting Ting had a great time enjoying various activities until late at night. They both seemed happy, and it appeared that Ting Ting was developing feelings for Siyu, even though they had only just met. When Ting Ting was about to say goodbye and head home, she finally introduced herself to Siyu, using a fake name. The next day, Siyu decided to clear up the misunderstanding with Ting Ting by going to Chao Rong's house. Unfortunately, Chao Rong wasn't home. Siyu talked to Lai Chai, who had seen the Tiger Gang members carrying Chao Fang's poster the night before. He began to suspect that the gang had kidnapped her. Without wasting any time, he rushed to the gang's headquarters, where Lao Hu was hosting a kung fu tournament. Siyu challenged Lao Hu to a fight, thinking he could defeat the gang leader. But to his surprise, Lao Hu announced that Siyu was now a candidate to marry his daughter. Siyu was shocked and didn't want to be forced into marriage, so he left, promising to return to rescue Chao Rong. Later, Siyu and the others gathered at Chao Rong's house to discuss their plan to rescue her, but they were surprised when she returned. She had gone to her uncle's house to find information about her father. Chao Rong seemed jealous of Ting Ting being in her house. When she saw Lai Chai with a wooden statue of a kung fu master meant for Siyu, she took it back and gave it to him before kicking them out for misbehaving. Meanwhile, Lao Hu went to Chu Hua's house to announce Siyu's victory in the kung fu tournament, saying that her son would marry his daughter. Chu Hua refused, not wanting a Siyu to become a gangster family. On the other hand, Zhou Nun, upon learning that Chao Rong was Chao Fang's daughter, ordered his subordinates to kidnap her to lure Chao Fang to their location. That night, Siyu and Ting Ting were walking together, and she started talking to him about Chao Rong's feelings for him. However, Siyu confessed that he considered Chao Rong as a sister, so he couldn't have romantic feelings for her. While they were talking, Lao Hu and his henchmen suddenly surrounded them, and it turned out that Ting Ting was Lao Hu's daughter. Lao Hu was delighted, thinking Siyu and Ting Ting were engaged to be married. Siyu firmly refused because he didn't want to be part of Lao Hu's ruthless family, even though Lao Hu was a kind-hearted man who loved his daughter deeply. Lao Hu then explained the misunderstanding between them, clarifying that he hadn't kidnapped Chao Rong. He was only following orders from Zhou Nun to find Chao Fang, who had fled from Ardu. After hearing all this, Siyu rushed to find Chao Rong, who was in danger. Unfortunately, at the same time, Chao Rong and Chao Fang had been captured by Zhou Nun's subordinates. Zhou Nun threatened to harm Chao Rong if Chao Fang didn't reveal the whereabouts of Ardu's ledger. To protect his daughter and keep the ledger hidden, Chao Fang made a difficult decision. Chao Rong was held hostage by Zhou Nun's subordinates and couldn't do anything. Soon after, Siyu arrived and was shocked to see Chao Fang lifeless on the ground. He drew his weapon and attacked Zhou Nun's subordinates, injuring some and Zhou Nun himself. Siyu seemed ready to attack again, but he backed down when Zhou Nun pointed his sword at Chao Rong's throat, threatening to harm her if Siyu didn't find Ardu's ledger. Reluctantly, Siyu agreed to search for the ledger, especially since Chao Rong was taken hostage by Zhou Nun. After the incident, Ardu was disappointed in Zhou Nun for not being able to defeat Siyu, whom he considered an inexperienced young martial artist. He then asked his subordinate, Tu Heimo, who happened to be He Chao's father, to help Zhou Nun eliminate Siyu and get back the ledger. Heimo quickly agreed to the task, even involving his son in the mission. The next day, Ardu sent a letter to Siyu's house, telling him where to meet and exchange the ledger for Chaorom. Unfortunately, Siyu and Chu Hua didn't know where the real ledger was hidden. So, Siyu had to meet Zhou Nun in the forest with a fake ledger because he knew Zhou Nun wouldn't easily release Chaorom. Siyu then fought against He Chao, who attacked recklessly. When He Chao's son was cornered by Siyu's attacks, He Mo used dirty tactics by throwing poison powder in Siyu's face, temporarily blinding him. Luckily, Chu Hua arrived and incapacitated him with a single kick. He Chao, seeing his father hurt, decided to leave and care for He Mo instead of following Zhou Nun's orders. Zhou Nun and his gang then attacked Siyu and Chu Hua until a mysterious martial artist showed up, causing Zhou Nun and his men to flee. Surprisingly, the mysterious martial artist turned out to be Lao Hu, who decided to help Siyu after his daughter persuaded him. Shortly after, Lao Hu and Chu Hua took Siyu to get rid of the poison in his body by immersing him in water for some time. At the same time, He Mo and He Chao stood before our duo, where He Mo admitted his son's mistake for not obeying Zhou Nun's orders and vowed to do anything to make amends. Our duo instructed them to get rid of Siyu. But before they could leave, He Chao suddenly experienced pain, and He Mo quickly gave him medicine to calm him down. After He Chao recovered and left the room, He Mo apologized for his son's shortcomings, and surprisingly, our duo asked him to do the unthinkable to make He Chao truly independent and not rely on his father. He Mo understood the command and requested some time to care for his son before carrying out the corrupt official's orders. On the other hand, after a long search, Siyu finally found our duo's ledger, which was hidden inside the wooden statue given by Chaorom. Shortly after, he received another challenge letter from He Chao, who wanted to fight in the forest. Without hesitation, Siyu rushed to meet He Chao and engaged in a battle until he managed to defeat him. Even though Siyu could have easily finished He Chao with his kung fu skills, he chose not to kill him because he felt sympathy for He Chao, who actually had a good heart. Siyu then asked He Chao to leave the city and stop serving our duo, so that they would never cross paths again. Hearing the request, He Chao agreed and hurried home to persuade his father to leave for the western region. Sadly, he was shocked to find He Mo lying lifeless on the bed. He Chao could only mourn his father's tragic death. On another occasion, Lai Che secretly took our duo's ledger and gave it to the corrupt official because he wanted to save Chao Rong, whom he had liked for a long time. Chao Rong tried to stop Lai Che from handing over the ledger to our duo. Fortunately, Siyu came to the rescue just in time. He saved Chao Rong from the soldiers and secured the ledger. Our duo got really angry and sent hundreds of soldiers to attack Siyu. Chu Hua and Lao Hu also joined in to help, and together they defeated the corrupt official's forces. Sadly, our duo managed to break Siyu's copper body, and just as he was about to attack again, Chao Rong sacrificed herself to protect Siyu, even though she was eventually struck by a knife thrown by the corrupt official. She bled heavily and eventually died. Siyu and the others continued to fight against our duo and his troops, but even Chu Hua and Lao Hu were captured by our duo's henchmen. Meanwhile, Lai Chai, who had no kung fu skills, tried to fight our duo and ended up getting killed by the official's powerful blow. Siyu couldn't bear to see his friend killed by our duo, so he went into a frenzy despite his weakening condition. During the battle, He Chao suddenly attacked our duo to avenge his father, who had been forced to do the unthinkable by the corrupt official. At that moment, Chu Hua and Lao Hu asked Siyu to take our duo's ledger and escape, forcing him to leave them behind. Meanwhile, He Chao seemed to be defeated by our duo, who then ordered his subordinates to search for Siyu, who had fled. Even his soldiers ruthlessly dealt with Siyu's relatives, who refused to reveal his whereabouts. At the same time, Siyu was in hiding with Ting Ting and her servant, who informed him that our duo would soon execute Chu Hua and Lao Hu. That's when Siyu decided to give up the ledger to save Ting Ting's parents and himself. Sometime later, Chu Hua and Lao Hu were brought to the execution ground, and our duo accused them of conspiring with the corrupt official. Before the execution could start, Siyu showed up, holding our duo's ledger, and convinced all the citizens that our duo was the one involved in government corruption, winning everyone's support. Shortly after, Ting Ting brought her tiger gangster forces to join the battle against Ardu's troops. As the battle raged on, Siyu intentionally led Ardu into a storage warehouse rigged with traps. He used the abundance of bamboo in the room to attack Ardu, but Ardu seemed stronger and managed to corner Siyu. However, this was all part of Siyu's plan to lure Ardu into his traps, and eventually Ardu was crushed by a large piece of wood. Though Ardu managed to dodge it, Siyu launched another attack that pinned the corrupt official down with a large piece of wood. Meanwhile, the combined efforts of Cui Hua, Lao Hu, and Ting Ting led to the defeat of all of Ardu's forces. At the end of the movie, Send and his central government troops arriving with Wen Guang, Si Hunt's son, who had been targeted by Ardu before. At that moment, Siyu handed over Ardu's ledger as proof of the corrupt official's crimes. Send ordered his subordinates to arrest Ardu and ensure he faced punishment from the kingdom. Send then thanked everyone who had helped capture Ardu before saying goodbye and returning to the kingdom. Moral lesson from the story: if you have to fight a wooden puppet, a gang of gangsters, and a corrupt official, always remember to double-check your pockets for the important ledger, because losing it can lead to quite a lot of trouble.